Hello again, Lockpicking Paul here, and what I've got today is a Mindy Pagoda lock, and this is the round key version, and this is an interesting lock to pick. It's quite a varied experience. First of all, let's talk about the actual lock itself. It comes with this rather nice card which tells us that it is Suppress 5 Stars Glory. And it comes with a number of features. It is anti-Allen key. I have no idea what that means. Anti-saw, well, I kind of get that from the shackle. Anti-impact. I think I know what they mean by that. I think they're talking about a wrap attack, and earlier versions of this could be opened with a wrap attack. I have tried on this one and it doesn't work. Well, I can't get it to work anyway. But however, if you hit this cheap die-cast pot metal body with a hammer, I'm fairly certain that will shatter. So this is, in terms of physical security, this is not a strong lock. The core is interesting, and the core is actually a pretty reasonable pick, but the body, not so much. Right, what else? Anti-rust. Well, yeah, if you make something out of nasty, cheap alloy, it won't rust. I'd rather it was made out of iron, to be honest with you. It would be stronger. Right, we'll come back to the card in a minute because there's some other interesting stuff on there. This shackle is held in with a pin here, and if you remove that pin, the shackle will come out. Or in my case, if you just use the lock, the pin will break and the shackle will come out anyway. So look at this. This is quite good fun. I'm going to zoom out for a second. If we unlock the lock, it will literally eject the shackle. It still does. It doesn't stop the lock from working. The lock works absolutely fine. And as it happens, we learn something about the lock. There are 2 screws down the shackle holes, and we can take the lock apart. So we're going to do that. Let's take this out, and I'll show you just how appalling the construction of this thing actually is. So if we can get the screwdriver into the actual screw, then we'll be able to do this. Oh, come on. Right, here we go. So if you wanted to get one of these, this is how you get this particular lock apart. Right, that's the screws out, and we'll pop this bottom plate off. You have to sort of give it a good old jab and it will come out. Come on. All right, so I had to give it a good old wallop, and it's popped out. There you go. This is the underside of the lock, and you can see that this is nothing more than a nasty piece of cheap casting, which will, if you give it a suitable whack onto this body shell, which in places is extremely thin, it will just shatter. So first of all, you're not going to secure anything with this. It's junk in terms of its body construction, but we're interested in the core, and the core is the fun bit. By the way, this is all still working. It's just, that's how you can get to it. You can, if you're willing to go through the pain, take that core out. How disassemblable and reassemblable the core is, I don't know, but there are a few videos out there. I think Lock Noob's got one where he takes the core apart, so I'll leave that to him, and we'll get on with the picking and the discussion about how you defeat this lock. So what we've got here on the back of the card is a really helpful diagram. Now what I'm going to do is I'll take a picture of this and I'll superimpose it on the one side of the video. So while I'm talking about it, what you've got in here are 3 plates, and actually on the picking segment I refer to them as discs, but they are actually plates. They look like discs if you look down the keyway, but they're stacked on top of each other. The lower plate, plate 3, is quite a bit further away than the top 2 plates. You can actually see that in the diagram over on the right hand side. They're like the little brown bars So plate number 1 and 2, they're right next to each other. In fact, in this lock, they're almost touching, which makes setting plate 2 a little bit difficult because it's behind plate 1, and you do have to set them individually. And the other thing I found with this is the plates have to be set much lower than you might expect them to be. It was a bit of a surprise to me, that. Some things to watch out for with these, because it actually is quite easy to brick this lock if you haven't done your research. In the keyway, corresponding to these bars on the key, there's like a cutout top and a cutout bottom. Pick directly in line, top and bottom. Do not pick the sides of the plates. If you do that, it's possible to flip the plate. And if you flip the plate in this lock, it's going to brick it. And I don't know how successful you'd be in being able to flip it back again. So top and bottom only. And you do have to alternate between top and bottom, because the plates don't go down flat. They go down like at a wobble. And that makes life really quite difficult. It needs incredibly light tension. In fact, far lighter than you might think it needs. And you have to push things in far further than you think you're going to have to push them in. I think the first time I picked this, it was like 15 minutes. And then I got progressively quicker and quicker as I sort of learnt the touch for the lock. And I think I've got it down to about a minute 30 now to getting it picked. But it took a while to get there, sort of to understand how the mechanism actually worked. So I'll refer you to the diagram for seeing how it actually works. But basically all you're doing is pushing those plates down so that they line up with the gate, and then the lock will open. So it's a relatively simple mechanism, but it's pretty effective. So what I've got now is a picking video. And like I said, it's a relatively short video, but this is a great lock to learn to pick. It's fun. Like I said, don't buy it to secure anything with. It's absolutely no good for that at all. But in terms of a fun lock to pick, and it is an LPU blue belt, I thoroughly recommend it. So up now, the picking video. Cheers. Oh, just quickly, it occurred to me, I didn't show you the tools I was going to pick it with. So this is a modified dimple Z-wrench. It came with one of those cheap Chinesium kits. And all I've done is I've shaved a bit off the front here, a little bit off the back, and we're left with this foot that lines. It's basically the same size as the tip of the key, and that slots into a slot at the bottom of the lock, and you can just tension it with your thumb like you would a regular padlock. In terms of actually picking it, I'm using my Katana 1. Just anything with a slight curved hook. I mean, a small profiled hybrid gem or something would probably do the job as well. I found this just slipped around the rings really easily. And you just push them down until they click, and then you get a bit of sponge, so you know that the plate is set. That said, you will often have to set the plates several times, especially if you get them out in the wrong binding order. So anyway, that's all there is. Those are the tools. Now we can get on with the picking. Okay, so see if we can get a reasonably good time opening this. Tends not to be a fast pick. It's just persistence with this thing pays off. Extremely light tension, and just got to work the discs in turn using the upper and lower channels, not the sides, because there's a danger of bricking the lock if you do that. Get to that second. The first two discs are touching each other, which makes getting onto the second disc, which is the one that binds first, actually quite difficult. First, second just feels okay. And there we go. That's actually a really good time. I'm really pleased with that. So, I do like the ejecting shackle as well. There you go. Mindy Pagoda lock round key version. Really, really, really pleased with that. All right. Cheers.